is part of our commitment to you to deliver an end-to-end FISBO program. Again, most FISBO programs are just the script, and there's so much more that's going to happen. In fact, um, here's a great question. If they ask you on the phone, by the way, what's your brokerage fee? Or they ask you on your initial walkthrough, oh, hey, Brian, what's your brokerage fee? The You could be eliminated based on what your answer is. You might say it's blank percent for the listing side, and they're going, okay, great, thank you. You're going, oh, I thought we were going to go forward. And they were just fact finding. They don't even have a facial expression. They don't react at all to what you just said. Maybe even offered them a great deal. And they still didn't go, okay, great. So I want you to hold back on the question about the brokerage fee. I'm going to give you a good response, which I came up with decades ago because I learned that when I said my brokerage fee and they didn't bite it and go, oh, we're moving forward with you, or sometimes I got eliminated because somebody else was a tiny bit below me. I'm like, well, I would have done that. And if I would have known, that's all it took. So here's what it is. You're at the property with the buyer owner, and they say, Brian, well, we would like you say, got to say, well, you're pretty good. This data. Could I ask you what your brokerage fee is? And I often will say, let me ask you this. What's your timetable, first of all, before I answer that? And they go, well, we're going to maybe choose a realtor next month. And so I'm like, well, you don't want to give a piece of information, your opinion on price or your brokerage fee, until they're ready to buy your services. You say it too early, may not go anywhere. So I know there's a lot of temptation to say a fee, and because they asked you the question, but it can sometimes get you eliminated or didn't get you anywhere. Um, so, um, but when you do say it, my first response to the seller is there's two sides of the brokerage fee, the buyer's agent side, listing side. Can I ask you this? As a buy owner, if Coldwell Banker or Remax, somebody else other than your company, right, agent, say, if EXP, blah, 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 Berkshire Hathaway, if they brought you a buyer, can I ask you what you're paying out on the brokerage fee? I don't care if you're even at your friend's house, not a buy owner, and the uh, the seller says to you, "What's your brokerage fee?" In all cases, you want to separate the two and say, just out of curiosity, there's the buyer's agent side and there's a listing agent side. May I ask you, what did you guys think was fair for the buyer's agent side? Now, the funny thing is, a lot of sellers will sometimes tell you what they think the whole thing should be. And I was at a kitchen table one time, and the seller actually he worked for the post office, nice guy, he's selling his condo, and he had a note written on the kitchen table, I will only pay 6% brokerage fee. And he didn't say it out loud to me. He just had pre-written it on the kitchen, on a sheet right in front of me so I could see it. And I thought, well, fair enough. And the so it's real important here. You separate the buyer's side and the listing side, buyer's agent side, and go, Bob and Sally, just out of curiosity, what for the buyer's side, what do you think is fair? And they're going to say 3%, 2%, 1%, $500. Who knows what they're going to say? And sometimes they're going to say what they think the whole fee should be. And that's not what I asked, but that's what they said, which kind of okay, now I know what they're thinking. So the so the first thing is, what do you think the buyer's side would be? And now they want to know, well, what's the listing side? Well, if you're going to say it, I'm going to recommend you write it. You don't say it out loud, or you could say it out loud while you're writing it. What we need is all these presentations we have to do like with neuroscience, and that the brain will buy into things that you're saying more to them if they can see it. If they hear it, it's going to be harder for them to process and move forward with you. Ours is a huge individual presentation, including when you say your final price, you're going to write it. You're not going to say it. When you're going to show the brokerage fee that's paid out to the buyer's agent side, the other agent, whoever transaction broker, whatever it is on the other side, write it down on a piece of paper. Write down one, two, three, four, 500, whatever it is you're going to write that you recommend they pay out the other side. Then on the listing side, say that, um, first of all, did you guys have a number in mind? I'm curious about that. Sometimes they'll just say a number and you're going, that's exactly where we are. If they say a good number. Now, if they say a really low number, you now have to realize you're going to have a little bit of battle on you, but you can handle that. But you can write down your number and then say, the question is based on the services I'm providing and the rapport that we have. Would you be comfortable with that if I'm your service provider? Don't just say your brokerage fee. Say that phrase there. If we have rapport and your confidence in me, you like my pricing strategy, part of my job is to make sure that the brokerage fee is in line with what you think is fair. Is what I wrote there fair? Something along those lines. You're not, I mean, they're going to think it's fair or not. You have to know if they think it's fair or not. If you walk out of there without them giving you an opinion on what you wrote, then you may not get the listing. But by asking, do you guys think that's fair? One of the spouses might go, yeah, that's fair. Yeah. And let's go for it. You didn't ask for the listing, but if you do it in a certain way about the brokerage fee at the very end, sometimes you're going to say, this is my brokerage fee on the listing side. That's what the buy side gets, something like that. Do you think it's fair? Sometimes they'll go, yep, let's go for it. And you haven't even done your analysis yet on pricing. If we do some of these things wrong, again, this is where agents go, FSBOs didn't work for me. No, no, that could be the case. But so often it's the little things that didn't get practiced. It's so many little things that are pieces of the success that go into a football game, a baseball game, a chess game, watching the other player, how they do it, even in relationships. So many things are going on. And all I'm trying to do is help you build a listing inventory that will send you referrals, and that if you have an LO partner who's getting the mortgages out of these deals. And so we want the little nuances. And if you practice these, like going to watch a great play and you're going, that was amazing, or a great movie. Have you ever seen a bad movie where you know the next guy that's going to die in the movie? Or you know that what's going to happen? It's so predictable. We are storytellers. If you tell a story to a child, you can tell a story at a kitchen table. And you can do this if you practice, 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 practice. So this conversation we're having, you and I are having right now, is simply about how to say a brokerage fee and actually close out in such a way where you said the number, but you understand how they feel about it and is it fair? And now they might say fair and that's it. But some people can go, it's fair, let's go for it. So anyways, hope this was helpful to you.